Welcome to Go Global World GGW Sharks 14th event. Can you imagine? This is already 14th event, and I just counted recently how many people had participated. It's over 2,000. It's crazy. More and more founders participating in our events for the past 14 events. It's just about 3 or 4 months or so. You are guys getting connected with investors. It's more than 150 connections we have done so far with investors. So this is the amount of matches you received during the 2-hour event. This is what we are trying to help you with. Of course, it's not possible to raise capital within 2 minutes, but this is what you get, a meeting with interested investors or not. So it's a real thing. We are not here to be nice. We are here to help and at the same time to connect you with real investors who are interested. So let's make it count. And because Go Global World is the sponsor, organizer of this event, I'm going to show you a few slides. So Go Global World is digital Silicon Valley. It's a platform and an app to connect investors and startups. It's a global community of founders and investors. All people are verified, and here people build their network, connections, and their reputations. So in here, for founders and investors, we have a specific product that is called GGW Matching App, where you have your profile as a startup to show this how you stand out among other startups, so investors can catch this as a great project and maybe consider you for investment. So you create a 60-second elevator pitch and create a stunning startup profile, and while you sleep, eat, and do your work, the app is pitching on your behalf. So this is just help you accelerate your fundraising process to connect you with the right investors. And investors are building the right portfolio for them based on their very strict criteria. And system is automated, very powerful, and you have a dashboard where you see how many people viewed you, like, dislike, and so you continue on that. And if you don't get attention of investors, you can match with advisors who can help you further, and so much more. If you already registered on the app, text me in the chat, and I'll give you priority to pitch in today's event. Now, to get to the app, go to app.goglobal.world. I'll text the link later on. And of course, any feedback matters for us. My team is working to make it better and better. So anything you say is super valuable. Now, this is just a quick snapshot of investors we have on our platform and our network. We have over 5,000 verified investors so far. And so this is just a quick snapshot, primarily the US ones, but also around the world. And this would be the investors who you might meet in our pitch event, in our app, and just in our network. This is the global advisors, also a quick snapshot. We have a lot more. And these are the advisors who can advise you on your project to help you with some progress if you got stuck. And these are the startups who went through our pitching programs, participated in different activities, and half of them already raised capital. But we understand that you might not raise capital fast, and we want to help already now. So we've built partnerships with top-tier companies around the world who you probably want to work with anyway. You would buy their services for your business. But these are the perks that can save you money already now, and we are ready to help with your cloud, with your banking, with a lot more. Just check it out on our website. And beyond that, we want to help startups with services that we do to take away headaches of administrative part, so you can focus on becoming the best solution for your customers. So we incorporate companies, do tax filing, accounting, payroll, and a lot more, just to help you, really help. And basically, the final slide I want to show you about us is that we are building global network of verified founders and investors. And if you want to join our Slack channel and communicate with the audience you are in and with investors and a lot more, you need to be verified. And the verification goes through registration on our app.goglobal.world. You create your profile. If you are approved, then you'll be taken, also invited to our global network. It's free of charge, but only for verified people. And of course, you can email us if you have questions or you believe you should be added to the network. Now, let's begin. GGW Sharks, the 14th event. Who is going to judge today? Who are the Sharks? So we have Duránd Davis, myself, Tanvi Narain, Zamir Shukho, Yuan Liu, and Kenneth Math. So before I let the Sharks to introduce themselves, here are the rules. Let's make this event efficient, productive, and so you get some results out of it. Please keep yourself muted all the time, except for investors. Raise your hand to pitch, and you have only 2 minutes, no more, for your elevator pitch plus questions. No slides. Again, I repeat, no slides. Don't share the screen. You won't be able to. And it's only for new startups. So with sales, IP, and scalable business model. If you pitched before and you want to pitch again, you would need to show what's happened, like what's the difference, like what's the progress you got. You be ready to for more challenging questions than others. Please respect time. It's really important. It's a 2-hour event maximum. And if you are on our app, GGW Matching app, you'll be pitching among the first. If you don't get the time to pitch, please contact us, and we will let you pitch in the next event. And we have a few people who didn't pitch last event, so they will get a priority today as well. And finally, it's how to make an ideal 2-minute elevator pitch. Keep it as a story. Get to the point of what you do. Why are you unique? And of course, investors want to see the results. So talk about traction. And if you pitch before, as I say, you need to tell them what has significantly changed if you're pitching again. So they want to see the difference. They don't want to hear the same pitch. And so let's meet the Sharks. Now, going back to the main room. Oh, I love your hat, man. This is fantastic. So let's introduce the Sharks, and let's start with Ken. Ken, please introduce yourself, 30 seconds.
Yeah, so I've been a past founder before, and then I raised my own fund with the family office. We invested in data collection, robotics, supply chain, invested in 23 different startups. From there, accrued 5 exits, 3 failures so far. Hopefully, the majority of other startups do succeed. But that's a little background about myself.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Tanvi, your turn.
Hi, everyone. Good to meet you. I work at Counterpart Ventures. We are a B2B SaaS seed and Series A fund. I come from an operating background, worked at Visa, Plaid. FinTech is my sort of area of expertise, but we look at everything, general agnostic fund. And we're investing out of Fund 2 at the moment of $110 million. Look forward to hearing your stories.
All right, fantastic, and welcome to be a shark on our event. So Tanvi is the first time shark today. Fantastic. All right, man with the hat, it's your turn.
Am I audible to all?
Yeah.
I have my AirPods, so I have to check. Okay, my name is Duránd F. I'm a 36-year-old founder. In addition to a venture capitalist, I was the youngest angel investor in Detroit over 17 years ago. So I've been doing this for some time. And I recently started a new firm with my wife, M&D Ventures. We raised $10 million, so we're investing out of that. Now, we're industry agnostic, stage agnostic. So that means that we invest at the hatch stage, which the idea can be on the napkin, because we're operators. If we really believe in the founder, obviously the equity upside is going to be wagered towards us more if you don't have any product. And also post-IPO, because my wife and I, we invest a lot of capital in crypto. Always looking for the next deal. Now with the new firm, the first investment obviously was my own company, my tech company, but we're actively investing. The other thing that I'm going to mention really quickly, so we're doing what we call Yummylicious Week. It's from May 30th to June 4th, and everyone's invited. It's going to be one of the biggest events in Los Angeles. We have tons of partners. Everything is already solidified. We're going to be doing a pitch competition where we're giving away $100,000. So I do want founders to reach out to me on LinkedIn about that. Also investors, if you want to be a part of that weekend. I mean, it's Hollywood. You get to hang out with the celebrities and the nerds. All right, thanks.
That's a fantastic combination, celebrities and the nerds. Fantastic. So just hear it out. So there is an event happening organized by Duránd. So yeah, he'll probably do some more marketing and will support Duránd as well on our social media. Zamir, your turn.
Good morning, good evening, everybody, depending on where you are. I'm Zamir Shukho, and I'm a GP of Vibranium VC venture fund. We invest in B2B SaaS companies here in the United States. typically seed stage, we invest up to $500,000 in our first check, and then we follow on with up to 1.5 million. Besides that, I'm a serial entrepreneur myself, and together with my team, we've built more than 40 different accelerator programs. One of which we have right now ongoing. It's a soft landing program to United States. We have 31 startups in the program and a demo day coming up on May 3rd. We might start the second batch this summer, helping founders to relocate their startups to United States, enter one of top accelerators, and raise their angel rounds here. And then we would come into the seed round, with our own investment. Good luck to everybody, and we'll hopefully have a great time today.
And they have really great program. I already reposted this on our LinkedIn, and so check it out. This soft landing of Vibranium is a fantastic. So if you're fit, you should use this opportunity. And it's free of charge as far as I remember, but it's just fantastic.
Correct.
Yuan, your turn.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Yuan from Hypertherm Ventures. So it's been a pleasure to be here for the last couple of times. And I personally look at early stage deep tech and climate tech companies that have a industrial angle. So stages could go from C to Series B, but it could be software or hardware. But I've always been enjoying the conversations here. I generally love talking to any kind of founders. So looking forward to today.
Fantastic. So we are all set for our pitch, and the first people who will be allowed to pitch, who didn't pitch last time, or our subscribed members. So if we have here Max Lidster, Sidhu Kadi, Miranda Naminishvili, and Madi Zakipov. If I pronounce your last name, I'm sorry. If I'm pronouncing it correctly. Well, please text me in the chat and I'll let you pitch. So everyone, please raise your hands if you want to pitch, and then we'll go one by one. And we are starting with the first person, who is Harald Markarian. Harald, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Should
I just start?
You got 2 minutes, and you can go for it.
All right. Thank you. My name is Harut Markarian. I am the co-founder of Markbotics, and we develop assistive robotics to reimagine independent living and accessibility for the elderly and those living with disabilities. People with mobility challenges are at risk of falls, and $50 billion is spent yearly on medical costs related to fall injuries. Additionally, there's a national caregiver shortage and the turnover rate of 65%. The future of healthcare is actively being reimagined as we speak. And Markbotics developed the ground robotic assistant for care enablement, or GRACE, to assist individuals in performing various daily tasks safely and independently. GRACE will eliminate the risk of falls, improve accessibility, and reduce caregiver burnout. We are undoubtedly the team to get this done with significant engineering and robotics expertise. I am a roboticist who developed the air refueling flight controls algorithm for the C-17. I received a Distinguished Engineering Project Award from California's Engineers Council for winning the Autonomous Uncrewed Vehicle System International Competition. My co-founders are an award-winning serial entrepreneur with decades of experience in successful startup building, advanced engineering technologies, and API architectures. Our business model is transactional and subscription-based. Individuals can purchase the robot and have the option to subscribe to our mobile app for added features. Hospitals, VA, and through distribution partners. The total addressable market is $50 billion with a compound annual growth rate of over 5%. We are asking for $2 million investment that will allow us to launch the minimum viable product to market within 8 months. And I'll ask to join us in reimagining the future of healthcare.
That's a great pitch. Well, so dear Sharks, are you in or out with this startup? So what's your question?
I have some questions. So really interesting product. So first of all, I guess where are you guys at? So in terms of your traction, right? Like you're talking about you're delivering the product, looking to raise money to deliver the product. Do you have any testing users or
So we tested our prototype with over 250 people. Okay. These are individual people. Well, so I'm not talking about organizations, right? So organizations are we're in discussions with them, and they're waiting for the minimum viable product for them to test it, which is understandable. But yeah, so the robot is fully designed in a CAD software, like electromechanical design is fully complete. The app is 50% developed. We have everything we need to take it to completion. The software is about 50% developed of the robot. So that's why I said it's just a matter of getting the capital, building it. It's a matter of transferring the CAD files to our contract manufacturers, which we are in the conversations with to take the robot to completion, the minimum viable product.
Do you have any liability concerns? Like, say, you're dealing with like people who are, physically, having challenges, right? Like, what if, your robot didn't catch them, or they fall, or like, has there been liability concerns there?
So the liability, we don't have huge liability concerns. Of course, we're gonna, look at liability insurance when we sell this to them. But the robot is really an independent platform, so it's most of the time away from patients, right? So it's allowing them to perform tasks that they would have, difficulties performing by themselves. So it's not really like the closest they will come to them is like delivering an item, an object to them, right? And then they back off. And the MVP is in a way that the MVP will not have any AI and machine learning. That will come later. The minimum viable product just they're operating the robot with a joystick or a mobile app, right? So it's like a distant communication, if you will. So it's not in the constant interaction.
Right. And you talked about selling directly to consumers, and also like selling to hospitals, like the nursing homes, right? Like those are very entirely different sales strategies, right? Like
absolutely,
selling to hospital could be a really long sales cycle, for example, the right people, right? Like, but what's your focus like for your sales strategy? Like, I guess.
So our initial focus is individual users. We have had conversations with organizations in terms of like independent living, assisted living, and skilled nursing facilities, but that will require, as you said, more knowledge, more kind of rubbing shoulders, if you will, for them to get on board with us. But with individuals, we have a better luck because now I already have 70 letters of intents, basically waiting for the product to go to market so they can purchase, right? And we made it in such a way that we did a price study in terms of what these individuals can afford, right? Let's say if insurance was not a factor, how much they can afford, and that number was between $3,000 to $5,000 per robot. And we think we can get that done in that range. Of course, everything everything is a projection, right? So if it comes a time that we see that we're not going to make enough margin on it, of course, we're going to change our pricing strategy. But for now, our immediate strategy is for end users, which, more and more is apparent that there's a lot of need.
Oh, yeah. And you're talking about like a subscription model, right? So, sorry. So just to clarify, does that mean like you're looking at some kind of robot as a service, or are you selling, or are you selling the robot, but like subscription for like software? Like, how exactly does that work?
So it's like both. So yes to both statements. So we are selling the robot, but the subscription would be in a way that so we have features built into the robot that you wouldn't get unless you subscribe to it, right? Let's say we have remote accessibility to the robot. You won't get that feature unless you're a monthly subscriber, right? You'll be able to operate the robot in a field of view operation, right? But let's say I'm here and I have the robot taking care of my grandmother's house and I can't be there 24/7. I'm able to remotely log into the robot, which is a patented technology, by the way, patent pending, I should say. Remotely log into the robot and have the robot do stuff for my grandmother.
Thanks.
So, quick question. I'm looking here on your site and it says make a donation, become an investor, invest now. And then once the window populates, it says $100 through $10,000. Mm-hmm. Have you talked to any counsel around the marketing compliance with SEC or promote selling securities publicly like that?
That's a good question, and that was a premature. I guess when we first built the site, we put that there just as donations if it comes, but nothing happened nothing happened through there, and I'm not advocating for people to go there, right? So that's a non-factor. I should probably bring that down. So
yeah, so the donation side and the investor side are two different components. You're answering saying donation, you have both.
yes,
But I'm speaking so the donation, I don't anticipate, and again, I'm not an attorney, although I like to believe I'm as smart as an attorney. I don't anticipate problems with the make a donation side. It's just the fact that you said becoming an investor. I like to schedule a call to action button. That looks fine, but the invest now and then a price populates. I think that that's problematic for you. I don't think that you have to change, become an investor, schedule a call to talk to us to learn more about how, because then it's offline. But you have a call to action button saying invest now that populates different price points. That can get you in a lot of trouble because your intentionality of you promoting it verbally is probably not something that SEC is going to extrapolate. They're going to say, hey, you shouldn't have done it. Here's the fine.
Yeah.
And so I would recommend you fix that today, not
Yes.
like yesterday. Probably even in the midst of after this questioning, you probably go off video and talk to your team and tell them to do it like now. Now, outside of that, can you just talk more about the proprietary elements of the robot? Because I hear potential, which I said earlier, I'm a big guy, I'm big on potential, but that's only when I can really understand the pathway of the functionality and how it's going to work for the customer. So this a little bit about the robot and the use case. I'm not quite getting it.
Okay.
I get what you built, but I don't understand how it works.
Okay. So the robot is an independent platform, right? So it's not attached to like a wheelchair or any other equipment for that matter. It's think of it as the vacuum cleaner Roomba, right? Think of it as that kind of thing, but much smarter than that. It will have 3 cameras at least. So it will have the 2-way real-time interaction, audio video interaction, right? So I can constantly see what's going on. The robot will be able to sense emergencies. Let's say there's a fall, there's a stroke, something's happening, and alert the proper individuals. Additionally, the robot will be able to open doors, close doors, declutter wheelchair path, collect the items that fall on the ground, like keys, wallets, whatever the case may be. It will be able to, as I said, the remote accessibility is a big differentiator, right?
All right. So guys, so really quick on the next one, because we've spent some time here on a one entrepreneur. The post-money valuation on the 2 million, you didn't mention that.
I'm hoping to get post money of 10 million, but
hope it's not a proxy for math. So I just need to know exactly what you're thinking around the post-money valuation.
Okay, so I'm thinking about the number of units that projections wise we think we can sell the first year, and that's about 750 units, right? So 750 units times the $4,000, and plus the expertise that is coming with the team, plus the IP. So all that is going into the math. And again, it's not written in stone, right? I'm an early stage startup. I want this to be a win-win situation. I want to I want to partner with someone that we can grow together. And
so about 10 million on the post money. That's what you're thinking.
That's what I'm thinking. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Good job.
Thank you. And thank you for the comment about the website. Appreciate it.
Yeah, just another one more quick comment, right? Like I think I think you could own it more, like when you're talking about your valuation, right? Like say with more assertion. I guess it should be okay, right? Like I mean, investors are going to negotiate with you, right? But there's nothing wrong with what you have in your mind. And right, I don't really need it, just for the sake of time. But like, I mean, there's quite a few like general purpose robots like nowadays walking around, right? So like your use cases are interesting, but like it's still not clear how you are different from them. So I would recommend like thinking more about how what your differentiators are and how you're communicating that.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I was going to make a quick statement. Do these robots require FDA approval?
They do not require FDA approval. Unless we decide later to do health screening and stuff like that, unless we incorporate that into the robot, up until that point, they do not require it.
Gotcha. And then you have the 70 letters of intent, which I took here on notes. Assuming the contractual value is the same, roughly 4,000 per per unit. Are these with consumers or are they with like businesses?
Consumers, all consumers.
All right. So two more sharks are left, Tanvi and Zamir. Are you in or out?
I'm out. I'm sorry. We only focus on B2B software, so that's not relevant for us.
Out as well.
All right. So thank you so much. And if any of the
Thank
sharks are interested to connect with you, we'll let you know. And let's move on. And the next entrepreneur is presenting Max Lidster. And everyone, I'm just, if you want to pitch, raise your hand. It's important so we know that you want to pitch. And please keep your answers short so we don't spend too much time on one entrepreneur, giving a chance to everyone to pitch. Max, are you here?
Yep, right here.
All right, you got 2 minutes and please go for it.
Will do. Thanks. So my name is Max. I'm with Expert Minute, where we patented a way to actually add items into anyone's e-card while they're shopping online. So let's say I want to have a phone call about this phone. I'm talking to a store employee about it. They're selling me on it, and I say I do want it. If they're just going to touch it, that's all they have to do. Basically, we have a different number of ways to send it to them, but we can digitally send this item right into their shopping cart. And it's pretty interesting. It's not just the item, it's also the attributes. So it's this capacity of this phone, it's the case for an upsell. It's a lot of different things around it. But the idea is to be able to pass an item digitally to someone's shopping cart without them having to do anything. It's just like going to the store and somebody walks up to you and says, what do you need? They put an item in your hand and then they walk you nicely to the checkout counter. So that's what we try to mimic with this. And we actually got a patent last year. And we've been working with a lot of licensing consultants. We've been reaching out to large retailers like AT&T, Home Depot, Mattress Firm, anywhere where you get advice as you're shopping online. And that's our first revenue generation, is the licensing of the patent. But the second one is we actually thought about building our own app, and we wanted to drop this into the Shopify platform so that it can become a SaaS model. And that's what we did. Right now we're working on it. It's about, well, I'd say almost ready. We're launching in August, and it's a monthly subscription. Depending on the use, it ranges between $20 and $200 per license. And that's actually why we're raising a pre-seed round right now, is because we need a marketing campaign for the launch to let people know this technology now exists. And we're raising $450,000 on a safe note at a 20% discount. And that's what our goal is to help the retailers increase their sales, but also decrease their returns, because they're speaking with a human being. You're more likely to get the right item at the right time and not be like me and return another item to Amazon for the billionth time. But we're also decreasing the shopping cart abandonment, which again increases more sales for the retailers. So we are Expert Minute, and I'd love to show a demo that anybody wants to see after this call. They're really fun. That's a very quick demo. But yeah, just wanted to say thanks for letting me present.
All right, fantastic. All right, dear Sharks, any questions?
Yeah, hi Max. I think you share some of the how the product works, but I'm still trying to picture what the entire user journey looks like, right? Say I'm shopping, like what exactly can you do for me, and how exactly does it work? I still.
So imagine just a little chat button on the bottom right that says live chat or video chat with us. It's the same thing that retailers are using now. So you're just basically creating that conversation. But during the conversation, that's where things are different. For the they're just going to be scanning an item, or they're going to be interacting with an item. Once they interact with it, for me as a consumer, when the phone call ends, I'm going to be taken right to the checkout screen with every single item that we just discussed that I said I wanted to purchase. So really, it's not much of a change. It's more of an add-on, but it's such an important add-on because that's what generates the revenue for the retailers. It's almost the same. It can be used in the same platforms that they're already using. It's just with our added technology. Now, all of a sudden, I don't have to get those text messages or an email that says, hey, you left items in your shopping cart. Now it's literally right in front of me saying, here's the checkout, here's that phone we were talking about. And that's all I have to do is basically just pay and go.
So you're talking about e-commerce and online shopping, right? Because I had a confusion because you were talking about some offline experience, and that kind of got mixed up. That's why I was wondering. I guess I guess my question for you is, right, like, whose pain point are you solving the most, right? Like, is your product more centered around the consumer experience, or are you trying to solve a problem for the sellers, right? Like, so these are two different kinds of like mind frames, right? So what's your priority here?
Yeah, we've done a couple of launches with local stores, and that's what it was. It was for the retailers telling us what their pain points are, and we were trying to solve it with our add-on. For the customer, there's really not much of a difference to what they're already used to. For the customer, they go in, they ask questions, they can have a video talk or a normal chat, and then they're just presented with the information at the end saying, you're ready to buy. But for the retailer, we were looking at different ways of how do they want to have their employees interact. Is this going to be from a call center, or is this going to be at the store level with, it could be an employee and it could be a slow hour, and they just have their phone, they turn it on. As soon as they turn it on, that activates the system. They can now take video calls for that location. So we're really looking at it from the retailer side more, because from the consumer, it's going to be really, really easy. There's nothing they have to do. It's literally everything's done for them. So really our focus is the retailer.
Right. And my suggestion would be kind of, reorganizing your value prop to just make it more specific for retailers, because at the beginning you talk a lot about like how people's shopping experience, yep. But that's not quite really about your value prop here, right? So it's so I would just restructure that a little bit.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Are there more questions from the Sharks? Yeah, Tanvi?
Yeah, I'm just curious. So what sort of market research did you do in order to capture kind of what is the ROI these retailers want, right? Because you have e-commerce where you're essentially doing e-commerce purchases and then point of sale pickup, and then you're doing point of sale purchase. You sort of have personal shopper opportunities as well. Where do you sort of fall in this sort of ecosystem, and what was the key ROI you're driving for these retailers?
Yeah, there's actually quite a few. So there's a lot of data out there showing that the video sales increase sales themselves by about 50%. Just you're more likely, after a human connection, you're more likely to purchase that item that you just talked about. But for us, it was more of just saying, well, I just need some help with this item. Once you have that connection, that for us, it's the shopping cart abandonment rates. Those ROIs are about 5 to 6% higher on average of just people checking out immediately. We were looking at the return rates. That's huge, because the more you use it, the less returns you're going to get, because that human knowledge is going to eliminate a lot of the mistakes. But we're working with a store, and we're looking at their sales and just the amount of online orders that were increasing because of this. And they're at the same time, the returns were decreasing. So I think we're about equally on all those three parts. There's no one key ROI. It's just beneficial to the retailers kind of from all perspectives. As long as they have trained employees who can answer these questions, they're just utilizing what they already have. But for myself, just
to keep your answer shorter, so because
sure.
I'm limited, we have 5 investors to ask a lot of questions, and many. Yeah. Tanvi, any more questions?
Really,
I just wanted to sort of point of feedback. I think crisp ROI would be really good for you in regards to, what sort of sets your product apart for retailers specifically. And I think where you're really operating is like regional retailers that are getting overrun by some of these larger enterprise companies that have much more of a footprint.
Right. Yep. Makes sense.
Zamir?
The quick question was, are you trying to utilize the staff that is just, hanging out in the store and not doing anything? Is there a big problem like that? Like, how big is that problem for those retailers?
Yeah, pretty.
Staff are not working. Yeah.
That's a good question, because that's a huge problem. It's called idle time. And these retailers are counting idle time where no one is walking through the door. So they have all these employees standing around. Basically, there's nothing for them to do. So the idea kind of came about. We can use it in the retail store themselves, where people are just answering the calls on a tablet or even on their phones if they really wanted to combat the idle time. Versus it can also at the same time be used as a call center, just as an extra revenue generator, saying, well, somebody had a chat. Let me just go ahead and physically, virtually give you that item as it's happening. So I think it could be used on both simultaneously. But my first impression was, let's use it in the stores. But the more I talk to retailers, they wanted to use it kind of in both places, both chat call centers and in the store.
All right, so we have Ken left. So 4 sharks are out, and we have Ken. Are you in or out?
Well, I had a quick question. So I'm just trying to understand the buyer's journey here. So, you know, if I'm a consumer, I see this product I like, and I'll click, hey, I have more questions. I'll enter a dialogue with that retailer. I think most of the retailers, at least the ones that I've worked with, they have some type of chatbot or chat service. Why would someone want to hop on a call rather than let me just, you know, DM them and chat them when I can DM and chat 6 or 7 different people or customers at one time instead of hopping on a call and getting my time tied up with one person?
Yeah, so that's an available option. So they can still use our patent in their chat program right now, even add it into a chat bot that says, would you like me to add this for you? And then it adds it automatically, and it follows our process and our patent to the very end, to the checkout. So that can be used already right now for by the retailers. But the reason they want to do it for the employees is there's a lot of specific questions that a chatbot just can't answer. And it's specific to my use. If I'm buying something at Home Depot just for this project, I really need to know just for this project. So it's kind of answering those very, very specific questions. And I think it works well with high margin products, but it can also be used on like just a quick turnaround, a lot of low margin quick products. It's just that human connection that's kind of missing from the chatbots, but it can be used in both places at the same time too.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that was my question.
Okay, Duránd, you done? Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, Matt. So no, I was getting ready to ask. So Matt, you just started this company. It looks as if it's only a month old.
No, I set up the account last month, but the company was started a couple of years ago. We had this idea, and we did everything backwards. We did the patent first, and then we went through all the other stages. So we have the patent early, but we're actually playing catch up on the technology and everything else. Like right now, we're just getting ready to launch.
So wait a minute, you guys submitted a patent, specified the methodologies and the claims. It was granted, and then you built the technology against the patent's specification?
We're rebuilding it. So right now we're in version 2 of our app. The first version we built was based on the patent, and it's still using the same processes and the same, well, everything that's in it. But that was done kind of early on, and the app itself, we launched it in a couple of stores. It was fine, but it wasn't very, I would say, not scalable. It worked for those retailers, but I couldn't take it to, let's say, a medium or a large size retailer. And that's why we kind of did a pause. We picked everything that was good about the first version, and then we basically put it into the second version.
So just you're new here, so I'll say this to you and other entrepreneurs here. Even if I don't get it immediately, because I'm really sold on entrepreneurs that can tell a certain story. The great part about it is M&D Ventures. The M is my wife, so she's a part of it. She just messaged me that she's interested in this, so Danielle can connect us.
I will.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So we have one match. Congratulations, and we're moving on. Thank you so much for the presentation. And the next presenter would be, Max didn't pitch last time, so he got a priority, and Miranda didn't pitch last time. So Miranda, you next. Are you ready? Hello? You got 2 minutes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You got 2 minutes. Please go for it.
Sorry. Yes. Hello, everyone. Sorry from connecting from car because I'm from shooting. I'm film director. That's why I love great stories. However, reading books today can be daunting task, especially for younger generations who are constantly bombarded by social media activities. That's why the number of literature readers has declined worldwide, especially amongst younger generations, and this is really problematic for overall education level. Meanwhile, gaming industry is growing rapidly because yes, games are more fun than books, but education can also be this fun. By combining books and video games, virtual story application will make reading process more interactive and entertaining for younger audience. User can read and listen to famous literature masterpieces, make impactful decisions on the story, and change the outcome of the story, and also play mini games and mind exercising puzzles. Right now we have validated our first MVP, and we have around 400 potential customers, and we are working on several new products. So we are going to launch officially by June 1. In our team, there are a programmer, graphic designer, and sound engineer and marketer. And we have already participated in several accelerator programs. And right now we are trying to raise around $20,000 because making our product is quite cheap because we are from Georgia and dollar is 3 times minimum. Lari is 3 times minimum than dollar. That's why when we're gonna sell globally with B2C model, as well as with the B2B model, the income will grow really fast, rapidly. B2C model is by subscription model, and B2B is making modern book publications in this virtual model. So virtual story is basically trying to change the way there's education, because it's going to be very interactive, much better than our competitors, because you can change the story itself. And also we are preserving literature masterpieces, must-read books, and our goal is to create digital library. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
So, Daniil, can I just say really quick? All right. So for the entrepreneurs that are here that haven't released a product, so releasing a product is one thing. Having a few customers another. Having product market fit is another thing. It's fine if you're super early, because there's going to be some investors that invest at that stage, which I do. Again, I mentioned earlier, I invest 20,000 entrepreneurs when they have no idea. But the thing you should focus on in your pitch is what type of traction have you had as an individual? So I'll give an example. Like myself, I played 3 instruments. I was in the record business. So even if I didn't launch my tech product, I know what it means to actually run a company inside of a record label institution. I know what it means to manage people. I know what it means to handle contracts. You guys have to overemphasize on something you've done already that can show some pathway of success for the thing that you haven't done yet. And because I'm not going to make any money on that initial $20,000. I'm betting on the person, and it's probably not going to be the idea that you thought, because once the capital comes in and you can bring other smart people around you, they're going to help you see things that you couldn't see. So I'm probably going to have to wager on investing about 150,000, even if it starts at 20, because you're going to need another 40, then another 60, then another 70 to get to your actual real investment, of which I will have to possibly consider joining that round as well. So I would just say to you entrepreneurs, if you know that you haven't launched anything yet, overemphasize on something that you've done that will show credibility that you have the ability to pull off this thing that you haven't. So that's my little advice.
Okay. I can comment on that if it's okay. I completely agree, and I don't know if I made a good landing point. I said I'm a film director, so that's why this field is really close to this startup. It includes script writing because it's about stories, changing stories. So about running company.
Don't worry about that. Let's ask from the Sharks. Let's take question. Do we have any from the Sharks?
Yeah, I have a question. So I'm trying to understand it here. Are you trying to combine games and books to make it more interactive? What does your target audience look like? Is this for younger generation?
Younger generation, yes. First prototype we made for from 5 to 7-year-olds. And the second one we want to be like from 8, 11. But mainly we are focusing on younger generation, because their attention span is very short. Lots of them cannot really put themselves to read long texts. So we are taking a component of book and making it more appealing to generation who is already used to smartphones and flashy stuff.
Okay, so
sorry.
Now I was going to say you're taking a pre-existing book and then you're gamifying those books. How do you get the licenses on those books?
That's why I started with fairy tales, which doesn't have copyright issues for younger audience. But in the future, we want to even make modern publications, modern authors in this kind of digital form. It's kind of audio-visual format, so you can see and hear the same time, and you can also do some gamification like changing story and so on.
Okay,
So
and
education with fun. Yeah, sorry.
the last question on my end is what is the turnaround time when you take a story and then you make it into a game?
So right now we are seeking investment because of that, because to invest more time in this. But when we made first prototype, the Georgian version, the time collectively took around 12 days. It's not, it does not take lots of time and resources to make it, because it's 2D, the paintings are 2D, and mostly taken from references, so minimal painting is enough, and it does not cost so much because backgrounds are not new every time. I mean, we are keeping a book visual and book feeling, not just making game out of it. So there's gonna be
Please keep your
game inside book. Yeah.
Please keep your answer shorter if you may. So
So it's it's 2D and half animation, half book. So the feeling is like as if you're turning page and watching fairy tale book, but there are some animations for visuals, like for beauty of it.
Are there any other sharks willing to ask a question?
Yes, I have a couple of questions. Right, you don't have to answer immediately, but I'm hoping like to I guess like a couple of things I wonder if you've thought about, right? Like, one thing, like you mentioned who your users are, but do you know who the real customers are, right? Like, is that
their
really,
parents? Yes.
right? That's a different kind of mindset, right? Like, the people, the parents that are going to pay for that, they don't care how fun the game is, right? Like, so how do you measure success? What does that, like, what does that mean to the parents, I guess, right?
I get it. So what I did research in my like large community, and turns out that many like 73% of parents, we had around like 500 interviewers. 73% of them said they're really concerned about their children's reading time and education, because all they do is books. However, for children, most of children is boring. So we want to make books fun, because children are games, books are educational. So make education fun. So when we tested, they were like, yeah, I'm gonna buy this for my kid. Yeah, at least they gonna learn something. I cannot take away this iPhone from them, but at least spend their time usefully.
Right. My recommendation would be to try to find cleaner, like, clean ways to deliver that your product has success, right? It works. Right now, like you're the story like about like what parents told you they want, but if you could show like students like they their grades got up, or they read like so much more books now, like there's a cleaner way to kind of demonstrate the success. That's something you want to work on. You want to track those results.
Thanks. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there more questions from the sharks, or we're moving on to the next entrepreneurs? All right, thank you so much for your presentation. Good luck with your project. And we're moving to the next person, which is Corbin Kaiser. Corbin, are you here? You ready?
Yes, absolutely.
You got 2 minutes. Go for it.
So everybody hates waiting in lines, and businesses are constantly losing out on revenue because of the long queues that are forming. Bartenders spend about a quarter of their time processing transactions instead of making drinks. Our solution is Crawl. Crawl is a mobile drink ordering application for users to order beverages within a crowded bar or ahead of time at a coffee shop. Crawl will allow bartenders and baristas to maximize the drink value and increase the revenues while also providing a better customer experience. Crawl includes a mandatory tip and a 10% service fee, as that's how we will make our revenue. And after hundreds of interviews with potential customers and industry experts, we validated these assumptions and had a lot of guidance to help us launch our product. We have seen current solutions to solve some of these problems, like hiring more employees, but everybody knows that's not a viable solution, as there have been a large labor shortage in this industry. Currently, we have 5 coffee shops on our platform in Bloomington, Indiana, where we go to school, and we have received about 80 orders within the past month. And we're looking to start onboarding bars as we're growing our coffee shops and our brand as well. Crawl sits in the middle of a $34.4 billion payment processing industry, and we're looking to scale through going through college ambassadors at different college campuses, as well as social media marketing, as we believe this is the best way to target our customer audience. After that, we will look to expand to bigger cities, as we see a lot of bars and coffee shops in major cities facing the same problem with long queues as well. Another issue is the transaction fees that all these businesses are paying every time they swipe a credit card. They're paying a transaction fees for whoever's processing that payment. And with some of the features in our mobile application that's being developed, like a bar tab, bars will only have to process the transaction once instead of processing 5 transactions per customer. Overall, as technology is becoming more advanced and getting into more and more industries, we believe that Crawl will provide an opportunity for businesses, for coffee shops and bars to increase their revenue while also providing a better customer experience for their customers. Thank you.
Right on time. Thank you so much. Yes, Sharks, your questions.
Okay. So is Crawl an app? What is this so far? A SaaS platform?
Yes. So we had a mobile app developed about a year ago, and we switched to a web application, which we're using now. And our web application is currently hosting 5 coffee shops in Bloomington. And we're currently building 2 of our mobile applications.
Okay, so I'm interested in 2 ways, but before I go there, a few more questions. What was the thinking around switching from a native app to a web-based app?
Absolutely. So when we were going around Bloomington, actually pitching to some of the bars here, and we talked to some of the bars who were interested, as we talked with our developer, and we realized some of the technological issues of integrating into their POS systems through an API is about $3,000 or $4,000 per system. And the web application that we switched to is actually powered by Oracle, and it has integrations into almost every major POS system for $30 a month per location. So we thought it was much more scalable to go through that way first.
Well, maybe the cost strategy was better, but the ultimate scale is the initial strategy that you guys have. I really support that, because that's going to give you a moat and some durability. Okay, where are you all in the process of your customer base and your funding? Have you raised any capital thus far? Did he freeze?
Looks like.
Yeah.
I thought it was the Instagram mannequin challenge again. It looked like we all froze.
Not raising the capital, we have bootstrapped this.
Okay, so we probably got to
suffer a little marketing and other costs.
Hey, he's back. Start over. Answer it again. You froze.
Yeah, sorry about that. So I'd say we have not received any investment. We have bootstrapped about $8,000, me and my partner each, to build version 1 of the mobile application and use the rest of that money for any other costs and marketing going forward. And then we recently just partnered with our new development firm. We're waiting on receiving a $15,000 INTAP grant for the state we are in, and we will use that to version 2.
Where are you located?
Located in Bloomington, Indiana right now.
Got it. And how many customers do you have thus far?
So we have 5 coffee shops partnered with us on our platform, and then our end users, we've had about, I think it's about 50 different users order through those platforms.
So you should reach out to my wife and I immediately. We want to talk to you tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So, petition that's coming, and I talked about it earlier. I'm not spending much time on it now, but you have to move on. And it definitely will be a great opportunity for you to pitch there. In addition to that, we want to invest a small round in what you're doing. If the technology is really that good, I'm gonna shred you to pieces on the technology. I'm a software engineer, so if you pass that test, then we can come in at a small safe of some sort. But we want to get in front of this immediately, so you should get in touch with us expeditiously.
Absolutely, appreciate that.
Fantastic. We have a first soft commitment and the first and another meeting with an investor. Congratulations. Are there more investors interested? So 1 is in and 4 is deciding. So what about the rest?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand the customer journey as well. I'm also a software developer. So when you're thinking about this, you switch to a web app. I'm assuming the customer scans some QR code, and then they're able to pull up the menu and pre-order.
Yep, exactly.
How is that different from, I guess, say Chalbas, right? Like, they could do something similar, right?
Sorry, could you repeat that one more time?
No, not Chalbas. What's the app? I forgot. I mean, there are some other like ordering systems, right? That they may or may not just do drinks, right? Like how is that different? Because it sounds pretty similar.
Yeah, I'd say in the way it functions, it's similar. Whereas on like one side of us where we're doing the coffee crawl side, it is similar to Starbucks mobile order. However, we want to target smaller mom and pop coffee shops that don't have the resources, technology, or time to build this ordering from themselves and kind of create a centralized drink ordering brand for that. And on the other side, we have the bar side, which we have not really seen anyone go into mobile ordering within the bar to kind of speed up that queue and increase the amount of transactions for the bar. So that's kind of think where we differentiate ourselves along with some of the features we add. Like in the mobile app, customers will be able to split checks within the bar. So you could order drinks from other people. And like I said, they'll be able to open a bar tab where they're only paying one transaction instead of 4 or 5 transactions, which really saves the bar some more money too.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I'll ask my question after.
Yeah, I'm still trying to remember the name of the delivery app. I totally forgot, right? But I guess what can you do to prevent them from like doing the same? I guess what's.
Yeah, again, this isn't really something we can do to prevent the same, but I mean, history shows we've seen a lot of big players kind of stick in their industry, and rather than just kind of creating something like this and entering a small vertical, they more look to acquire players like us. So again, there's nothing we really can do for these big players. It's historically, it's not really what they've done.
Well, that is if you have something defensible and that costs them a lot of money to replicate, right? I mean, if the barrier of entry is low, and if especially like we're talking about technology here, and it sounds like you're outsourcing a big part of that. So what exactly is it that's so hard to replicate that you can do that the others cannot simply copy? Because if it's a problem for like some I think if they want to get into bars, right, like they should probably get into that pretty easily, right? Like it's not like they probably have a first mover advantage than you, right? Like why haven't they done that, right? So what's your secret sauce that's hard for them to replicate, that make them want to buy you instead of starting something like they could like on their own, right? Like so what makes you like worth buying, right? So that's the question, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, it's a great question. With them having the resources they can definitely vertical into that. I guess our thing is kind of a focus on it. We're very focused on the bar industries, and we think that the features that we'll add to this, the attention we'll pay to it, will really help the process flow smooth. I believe they haven't entered this space as it is challenging for the logistics behind the bar, and bars don't like to switch away from the traditional way of doing things. And I think these big players are kind of focused on what they're doing right now, and they don't really kind of want to change with that until they kind of see someone else maybe do it, and then they could put the resources there.
I would challenge you on that. I think I would probably challenge you. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think I think you would need more hypothesis testing on that, because it seems like there's a lot of assumptions in there right now, and I would do more testing on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just had a question. I'm curious about, you have all these infrastructure platforms like your Toast, Square, some of these early players like Noble. They're all doing a portion of this. What I think is interesting for you is that, again, going back to the earlier pitch, regional small businesses that don't have the capital to pay some of these larger players, or they just they have a high take rate, right? So maybe one question is, what's the service fee that you charge per transaction? And then 2, who's your target customer right now? I know you guys are early days. Indiana Bloomington seems to be sort of your market immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the first part of that question, we're charging about a 10% service fee right now. This is changeable at any time. We received that validation from the hundreds of answers we got on our surveys that we sent out to potential customers in Bloomington. So we decided to start with a 10% service fee. And actually touching back on the last question, that's another way where I think we stand out, because companies like DoorDash, companies like Grubhub, they charge a 30% service fee to these restaurants. And like small businesses can't really afford that, and it really hurts them. So we think by kind of keeping the service fee low, it's also another benefit that we provide. And currently we're targeting, as in the business side, local coffee shops and bars in college towns. As like you said, these are the people who don't have the resources. And we really think that we could use the connection to the community to kind of bring customers to them. And while we'll look to scale through college town, eventually we would look to move into major cities as well.
So 10% is huge. I mean, that's like if I'm at the location and I'm ordering, I might as well just go to the bar. So can you tell me a little bit about, like, is it 10% if I'm ordering for pickup or 10% if I'm at the bar? Because find it very hard for merchants to be willing to pay that just for ordering at the location.
Right. Yeah, for ordering coffee, it's 10% for ordering ahead of time. So that's just for the mobile pickup order, and it's also 10% within the bar. I think we have talked to at least 300-400 students here who have gone to these bars, and we've interviewed them at the bars and asked them specifically, would you pay 10% to not wait 10 to 15 minutes in this line and get your drink? And while people are ordering a $7, $8 drinks, 70 cents, people said, absolutely, I would pay $1 right now to not have to wait 15 minutes in this line to get a drink.
I guess I'm playing devil's advocate again, right? But I would be very careful about like thinking price or fee, like lower fees, as a sustainable advantage, because you're not going to win a price war against the big players. It's not going to be sustainable. They have way more cash to burn to squeeze you out. If that's what your end game is, you need to find something that's more sustainable. And like I said, there are other way larger, nationwide apps that are doing what you're doing too. Like I've used them like a couple of times ordering tea and stuff. Like like in the store, I like those things. Like I can just order on the phone and like not wait, right? I'm willing to pay for that. But the question is, why are you uniquely positioned to do that? So that's the main thing. And for bars, that's an entirely different story, right? Like you're going there also for the experience, right? So it's not necessarily just ordering a drinks, right? So it might need some more validation on that hypothesis.
Got it.
So Corbin, you mentioned a bigger player acquire you. Do you have an exit in mind? Is this something you want to sell eventually?
Yes, absolutely. We've definitely looked at multiple.
I want to place a cooperative spin on this Zoom here. We don't have to keep the traditional format. I'm not a traditional person, which is why I'm able to parse through environments. So how much would you sell this thing for?
We're working on pro formas right now, and the only thing we can base what we'd sell off.
Yeah, I don't want the Harvard answer. You have it in your mind. As a human being, how much would you sell this thing for?
We've seen other similar platforms get acquired by things for around $50 to $100 million.
Okay, so here's where I stand. On one, I was talking to my wife in the background. We definitely want to invest in you, because I think one thing that maybe the Sharks aren't seeing is that you're the product. You're very confident. I know a confident person. You don't gauge a person's confidence by us having these kumbaya meetings. You have to gauge confidence when someone's aggressively coming at you. And most humans aren't that confident. I can see that you're just answering these questions like it's nothing. Like, hey, this is easy. Just shoot them at me. I come from an environment where you had to be raised you had to be confident. So I just know with the backing behind you and the infrastructure that you can definitely flourish 100%. You sound like you're ready for the big TV moment. So we can invest in you, which we want to, or we can look at this as an acqui-hire, bring you into our system, because we have a platform that we launch. We've already raised a lot of capital. Our next round is north in the eight-figure range. And you can come and work alongside us, and we'll give you a bigger infrastructure and some type of incubation and actually help you push this thing to the forefront. We're highly interested in you. Like the first out of all of the talks I've been on over the last 13 weeks, because I know exactly what we can actually do with you. So that's something to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. Both those opportunities sound amazing. We would love to go either direction. I'd love to talk to my partner and be able to get back to you on that.
All right, we will.
Yeah, I thought you were going to get off of it. I thought you were going to get off to the Zoom once I told you contact us tomorrow. I was serious. You were still here answering questions. Once you hit a deal, you have to go focus on the deal.
Yeah,
and leave money on the table.
It's good to hear the questions and be able to kind of prepare for those and learn some.
It's all jokes. It's all
I got you. Right.
Good. All right. So,
but seriously, get in touch with us immediately.
Absolutely.
I will connect you guys as soon as possible, of course. And congratulations with the self-commitment. And are there more questions from the Sharks before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, I have a quick question. I've worked with probably about 16 startups in this space. I think one of the main problems they have with consumers is consumers don't, I mean, they have a budget, especially if you're looking at college students. There's days people, they drop $100, $200, go in bars and coffee shops and whatnot. And they're like, okay, I regret that. So one thing that I've been interested in understanding is, or maybe it's a solution. It's if you can find a way where you can connect all these different coffee shops together, or bars, let's say bars, and someone could say, hey, I just want to, put in a preload amount of $100, and no matter which bar I go to, I can, skip a line, and then it just caps me out. Once I reach my $100 limits, okay, I'm tapped out. I think people would pay a subscription for that, because that cost would save them way more money than just like, one day I drop 100, next day I drop 200.
Right.
So I think that would actually be a really good, like, solving the consumer side. And then that would be a really, good differentiating factor, at least from my point of view.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you. That is something we've been talking with our developer with actually in the past couple of weeks, as we talked about the same thing, calling it like crawl cache, where you'd be able to upload a certain amount of credit, and that kind of limit the amount people spend at bars, and kind of just be able to let them control their spending.
I like that idea. That was a really good idea, actually.
All right, let's move on. And congratulations again, and we will connect you. So the next person is presenting. And sorry if I'm pronouncing incorrectly the name. Ainde Neidl.
Ainde, perfect.
All right.
Needle. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all for your time.
You can start now.
Greetings, everyone. The real problem is discovery, and it's dead because more than 90% of all media we consume and the algorithms that suggest it are owned by less than 10 companies. Social media is, as we know it, is dying, and even social audio, which was once thought to be the next big thing, is already on its way out. But we're not here to talk about what's dying. We're here to talk about what's next. So imagine walking into a building. It's your own radio station. You say hello to the receptionist, and you make your way to the studio. You sit down in front of the mic, and you tap the on-air button to start your own live call-in radio show. Now, that's impossible for you to do without an FCC license and a minimum of $250,000. I would know. I'm 25 years in radio, and I created the original iHeartRadio app. Now, we've spent the last 9 months building a digital replacement for that antiquated system, and Needle.com is it. It's a platform that couples two distinct apps to democratize the flow of information. The first app is Studio. It's an invitation only for influencers to amplify, monetize, and transcribe their words through their own live call-in radio shows. And each voice is assigned a custom URL where followers opt in for on-air text alerts to listen instantly from any web browser. To call in the followers of the voice, they can download the Needle app. And that also gives them free access to over 100,000 radio stations, 40 million songs, 50 million podcasts, and all powered in real time by caption search. Now, our B2C, it's a B2B2C that's backed by Google, and our $1.2 million pre-seed was led by the creators of the biggest consumer brand in history, Candy Crush Saga. So we're raising $600,000 via a $6 million Y Combinator safe, and we're looking for investors who want to be a part of this important information revolution. Thank you.
So it's been some time since we've spoken, over 2.5 years. We had a conversation in Clubhouse and a few other places. And you didn't mention that you were a speechwriter for Obama. You never leave that out of your presentation. You start with that. So how has things been going over the years? I noticed that you did a small pivot. Are people still able to earn hay inside of the platform? Is it still based on a singular one-to-many radio experience, or have you integrated some form of social audio? Because I remember when I spoke with you on Clubhouse, you were considering some of those elements. Like, where's the platform today?
So the platform is completely and totally built and rebuilt, I should say, from the ground up, with 2 separate apps. One, again, is going to be invitation only. So only the people that invite. So we already have Fat Joe, we've got Roxy Diaz, we've got a number of other celebrities already signed up for verbal commitments. And those people will get the invitation and be able to start their own show. Anyone in their audience can listen to them. Any of their followers can listen to them without downloading any app. they can sign up for SMS alerts without downloading any app. So think Barack Obama with 10 million or 100 million people getting an SMS alert whenever he just goes on air. And then when they want to call in to speak to Barack directly, they download the Needle app, which brings in all of the scale and it brings in all of the revenue.
Got it. So I understand what you're doing now. You're amplifying you're switching to go to market a little. Has the UI changed any?
Totally, 100% different.
Okay. All right. Well, I got your back. I messaged you again on LinkedIn. Let's get on the call next week so we can amplify this thing for you.
Where's the offer for acquisition, bro?
You're not ready. Listen, you're not ready to sell yet. You have a lot of stuff to do.
You know that's true. Thanks so much, man. It's great to see you again. I appreciate that.
Come on, man. You got a fat joke. The one thing you guys listen, I talk straight to people. You know how I am. You're a black man. We have culture. Our go-to-market is different from everyone else. We can call Beyonce and have the whole. That's why we're doing this yummy event this week. You have to lean on that, man. Look, you just dropped it like, oh yeah, Fat Joe is going to be on the platform. So let's talk offline.
Okay,
I got your back.
All right, let's go.
All right.
I got a quick question.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, can you talk about the traction at the moment? Do you have any revenues? How many customers? How many people you have doing the radios and the listeners? Like, what are the numbers?
Yeah, exactly. So we spent the last 9 months rebuilding the platform that is ready for launch now. So we have nobody who's using the platform because we haven't invited anyone to use the platform. And so, what we've done instead is we've spent, we've invested more than $2.2 million to get our product market fit. We're backed by Google, we're backed by Candy Crush, and more importantly, we're hosting over 120,000 radio stations on our platform. 120,000 radio stations with more than 40 million songs that allow people to go and search for anything that they want to listen to, whether it's live news, sports talk, information, or music.
So what would be the expectation for these numbers to grow by the end of 23? Like how many users you're going to acquire?
Yeah, so we expect to launch with sorry about it's investors calling actually. So we expect to launch with over 130,000 users in Q2, and then we'll grow that to about 30 million users in year 3.
Okay. Thank you. I'm interested to look at you guys as well.
Right. Second comments. 2 Sharks are in. Fantastic. And 3.
Thank you. I actually earmarked you, so I was hoping you'd be interested. Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, and what about the rest of the Sharks? Tanvi, Ken, and Yuan. Okay, see now.
I want to say as a B2B2C, I'd be very curious why our B2B is not raising her hand yet, because we are clearly a B2B company in this next phase. It looks like we're a B2C right now, but actually we're subscription, because we'll be selling our subscriptions after we've built up the FOMO. Everybody's going to want their own radio station. We're going to allow people to buy their own studio for $1,500 for 6 months and $2,500 for a year. And then down the road, we'll be licensing our technology to allow people to do the real-time ad insertion that we have patented.
Well, you didn't let me unmute myself. But yeah, I'm interested. I think the immediate sort of thought for me is, it seems like it's a B2C platform, but I want to sort of learn a little bit more about what are some of the use cases that you can expand beyond. And very honestly, I think music for us is a space that we're not super well versed in, but at the same time, I think more on the provide improved search is something that I'm interested in. So yeah, I think that I'd love to connect. We're actually going to be at YCOM next week, but I think let's connect before that.
That sounds great. And then one last thing about the music is, do you listen to NPR? NPR is radio. So live news, sports, talk, information, that's what our focus is. Music allows to bring more people into the platform.
Got it. Yep. Would love to connect.
Fantastic. Three sharks are in and two left. What about Ken and Yuan? You guys have any questions?
Yeah.
It's out of my scope, but non-industrial, but I'm curious, what's the appeal of radio, right? Because there's so many ways to live stream content nowadays, and they could just go on YouTube, for example, and if your product ended up requiring a phone or a computer or web app, like what exactly is different, right? I guess another question is, we like even at the Shark Tanks, right? We've seen a lot of platform for like if they're fighting for influencers, right? What gets them to sign up for another for another platform, and how are you going to keep them? How loyal are they going to be to your platform? And is there going to be some point that they're going to be tired of like all the new platforms, and what's going to keep them there? I guess.
Thank you for your questions. You gave me two questions. I'll answer the second question first, which is, why is this so interesting to influencers? Well, number one, if you look at what's happening with social media, they don't have access to all of their audience, and there are a number of social media companies that are, as we all know, being threatened right now. So they may not exist in the near future. Secondly, if you look at the reason why they want to connect via audio is because, as we saw during the Clubhouse craze, it's very intimate experience, as well as not having to show their face really makes a difference. You see a lot of the people on our Zoom don't even have their cameras on. But then that gets us to the radio question that you asked at first. Radio is a $44.5 billion global market. And it's stagnant. It's stagnant in terms of growth, but it's not going anywhere. For a lot of different reasons. And the last piece that I'll say about radio is that it's super important, especially to African American and Latino communities. And it's huge for us as community building, and it's how we stay connected. And so I think where the disconnect is, typically from Silicon Valley, is that it's a really important medium for people outside of the Valley.
Sorry, I lost the video. Well, my photo looks better anyway.
He lost his video. Just for the record, he lost his video. So
yeah,
that's what I guess my question, I mean, I get that, obviously there's tons of, radio audience out there, right? It's a huge market, no doubt. I guess my question is like, whether it's, radio or live on YouTube or, Clubhouse, like there's some kind of, interactions there as well, right? Is there like some kind of fundamental difference, whether for like the listener or the people who are hosting the live events, right? Like how is it, like if I'm going to host something on Clubhouse where I have a bunch of followers, like is that going to be different from if I want to start something, stream something live on radio? I guess.
Yeah, great question. Let me answer it. We're not a social media app per se. Like we're not. Like you don't go to Needle to gain followers and so forth. Like you're going to Needle as a broadcaster to get your message out and to connect directly with your audience. So like if you're a broadcaster, now you have basically a walkie-talkie that directly allows you to just open your mic and just instantly message all of these people. So you can have a long form or short form conversations. The other piece about it is that we monetize your words as you're speaking. And so what that means is that without getting into too much detail on this call, I don't know who's on this call, but it means that as you're speaking, we have advertisers bidding on the words that you're saying in real time, and we insert ads based on that. So it's like it's completely revolutionary in terms of how we monetize your voice, and then the control that we give you, so that you're actually having a radio call-in show. So it's not like everybody's talking and then it's just like a weird thing where there's arguments and you get to say one mic. No, it's just like it's your show, and you get to have as many or as few people calling in as you want. And people know, it's so funny. As soon as you give somebody, if I gave you the app right now, the first thing that you would do is you put your radio DJ voice on. Like immediately. I don't care if you've never done it before. And that's because people understand the framework of radio, and so that's what's really interesting. There's no like sort of learning curve for listeners or for
Thank you so much.
broadcasters.
Please keep yourself
Yeah,
answers shorter, please.
yeah, I see that now. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
really cool.
No, thank you.
Thank you. And
You're talking about that. You're talking about that. You're listening to DJ Devo Live. So miss that dial. Come right back up after the break. We got Drake coming up. When we heard about that different news, I actually worked in radio, so that is cheating.
That is cheating. No, really, I can't even do it. It's good.
And now let's take a break, right?
Thank you, everybody.
For the Ken, do you have any questions, or we move on?
Yeah. So one question, maybe I missed this on the revenue amount. I definitely do like the interest in the community building aspect, so definitely want to have another conversation.
Okay.
But did I miss out on the revenue, or I've been looking at the website and trying to take notes here?
Yeah, no, I didn't really address it because of the time. But we're looking at so the revenue comes from real-time ads, comes from Hey Interactive revenue. It also comes from subscriptions, and we're tracking about $30 million of revenue in year 3. Sorry, I got the number wrong for the previous investor. And in year 3, we have about 20 million users, but $30 million of revenue, and 56% of that revenue is ARR, right? So it's going to come a lot from subscriptions.
Okay, and currently the revenue amount, are you pre-revenue or?
Yeah, we have early. I never say we're pre-revenue because we've already sold in-app purchases and figured out how people are going to purchase that. The Hey that we were talking about before, and then we've already sold we've already done B2B sales. Like that's how we actually started the company, with a $2,000 sale. So we're not pre-revenue, but we haven't activated any of the revenue levers that we have yet.
Okay. Do you have a contractual value of what you're closing this year? I mean, if you by the end of the year you're going to start closing some contracts and maybe have revenue, like higher revenue.
Our subscription sales are going to actually start in year 2, after we've sort of after people are sort of like protesting in the streets that they don't have a studio. So we're going to start that in year 2.
Okay, so let's say year 2 is 2024. What does that revenue look like 2024 closing?
Yeah, I wish I could share my screen. So it's going to be mostly real-time ads, and we're going to get up to about $5 million of real-time ads. And then subscriptions, it's still like under $1 million because we'll just be starting it. And then the other thing is Hey Interactive revenue. So people can purchase Hey to tip the voices, and for every one Hey that the voice gets, it's $1 that they can cash out. And it's a way for listeners to sort of wave and show the world that they're there and they're listening, so they can pay for comments, they can buy into ticketed events, and they can also tip the voice.
Yeah, those are my questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations with 3 Sharks ready to meet with you separately. We will connect you after the event today.
4 Sharks. 4. Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Great job. Thank you so much. And please spread the word about the event on your social media if you can. Now,
absolutely, I will. I really appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And the next presenter is Jacek Sidzina. Jacek, are you ready?
Yeah, you can call me Jack simply.
Okay, you got 2 minutes. Go for it.
Hi, so my name is Jack, and I'm a founder of PrintSme. PrintSme is a B2B SaaS-enabled marketplace for sustainable print and packaging for B2B. And basically, we started as an agency, moved to build a marketplace, and our mission is to draw down the CO2 emissions through the broken supply chain. This is the main problem. The second problem is the lack of the digitalization in our industry. It's 94% who uses email and phone in terms of purchasing. We started in 2020, grew 4 times in 21. Basically, we are pre-seed grant funding. Recently, we received also the grant from the King of Norway. and we did it all with zero acquisition costs. Right now, we are doing around 50K revenue, basically with 3 people and zero marketing at all. The product is a closed white label portal where you can do one-click order for eco-sustainable, meaning recycled and biodegradable products, packaging, 3D printing, apparels, and basically print. And the business model is marketplace. We do take rates on around 40% margin. Now we are moving to generative AI. So basically, we are doing print, logistic over the one click. And right now we are putting NPD process in our marketplace as a magical tool. So basically, it will be NPD through a generative AI from ideation to production of the print. We are raising seed round with $1 million minimum KPI. We have pre-seed investor VC from Poland because we are based in Europe, and basically we want to grow our SaaS platform because this is how we started to be growing from 40% margin to 90% margin thanks to a SaaS and subscription model. And through generative AI, we will want to pivot to a product which will be super scalable in terms of putting design into print and logistic on the brain to cut down also the CO2 emissions. Yeah, so basically that's it.
All right, thank you so much. And dear Sharks, do you have any questions?
What is the geography that you work on right now? Like where the majority of the customers, the suppliers?
Yeah, so we are based in Poland, in Europe. We have around 60 customers. We sold few products to Germany, to DACH. We have customers split into Pareto, like 20% is enterprise companies. We have companies like Carlsberg, Duracell, Tupperware, and even Alibaba. So a few amazing customers and small caps, mid caps, and e-commerce customers. And we figure out that we want to solve the problems through white label closed, so managed marketplace. For this year, we want to open marketplace to be fully self-service for SME and e-commerce customers, because they have all the needs, especially after COVID-19. The e-commerce is booming. It's our market is over $1 trillion. So it's still, you know, a revenue, small revenue on a very, very price-sensitive market. But still, we could manage to do on average 40% margin. Selling to other European markets, we did for DACH. We did even 70-80% margin based on sales. We have one customer from the US, but basically it was done on a mission to help the Ukrainians, because
we are just to give some more time to others. Yeah, I'm interested to talk to you more, especially about scaling to US market. So let's connect.
Fantastic. Congrats on one commitment we have. So Tanvi excused herself. She got to jump to the other event, the other meeting. And so she wished good luck, everyone. And we're continuing with the rest of the people. So yeah, we have one commitment, one meeting with investors. What about the rest of the Sharks? Ken, Yuan?
Yeah, I'm just taking notes. What was the site again? I was just trying to figure out a little bit more information on this. I'm not very well versed in sustainability yet. So
yeah.
Okay, what was your site? I just want to look it up. Or company name?
Print me. I will jump in the chat. It's still, it's a landing page, but somehow you can handle the information. The basic idea is that we can be eco-sourcing platform for the companies who wants to launch a product and are looking for, let's say, a packaging, new design, because our marketplace is filled with network effects. That's how actually we grow through network effects. And this is very important because we have business network effects and product network effects. And for example, if you want to run your own collection of apparel or a packaging, or do some 3D printing, or some innovations like we combine OLED with packaging, so to come live packaging, and we do it all through the eco products. We measure it because right now we will be starting IP protection because the Norway grants were for building our ESG own calculator to tell you, okay, how you can be effective in terms of lowering down CO2, how to cut the cost and cut the time, because our platform and idea of implementing generative AI is to about cut down weeks and months of process of NPD to literally minutes, like runway ML magic tools for printing and packaging. This is how you can imagine PrintsMe in 1-2 years.
Thank you.
So if you're offering a one-stop shop solution, how do you manage your own supply chain, I guess?
Yeah, we have like our small due diligence for suppliers. Right now, we were onboarding suppliers through network effects as well. So because I was head of big agencies like Ogilvy, TBWA, J. Walter Thompson. Through 20 years of experience, I get my own network. So we are growing through recommendations and network effects. And if we are onboarding new suppliers, we do like pre-flights of some kind of sample prints and samples of the customers, and we do like a small due diligence of the suppliers. But on the supply side, we have like a similar amount of 50 suppliers right now, and basically we don't need to have like thousands of suppliers because they have quite big capacity. We are focused more on the demand side.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Any more questions, or we move on? All right. Thank you so much for your presentation. Great job. We will connect you with selected investors who selected you. And we're moving on to the next presenter, who is Dawn Robinson. Dawn, you ready?
I am. Thanks, y'all. My name is Dawn Robinson. I'm CEO of Mellow Scene, and we provide virtual reality music studios where musicians can create, collaborate, record, and monetize their art. Even before the pandemic, musicians had issues in getting together to create music. They had two choices, either in the studio, which can be really expensive, or web-based applications, which there's so many of them, and we all know from freezing on Zooms how difficult that can be, and so creating music is just a nightmare. So our technical founder, who is a multi-platinum selling musician with 25 years experience in the music industry, came up with the Scene Key, which is patent pending, and it allows musicians to be in the same space creating music. It's an interface, and they plug in real instruments and a VR headset, and they enter into a virtual music studio, and they can invite anyone from around the world to join them there. It allows them to see their digital audio workstation, and they can see the other musicians' digital audio workstations as well. So they can share and sync files and create music, and then at the end have a professional grade quality recording. Right now, there are, within 5 years, BandLab, which is also a music collaboration platform, had 22.8 million creators, and there are about 84 million music streamers out there for an annual revenue of $38.3 billion. And we've raised money from our friends and family round, and we developed an alpha prototype, which we debuted at CES in January, and we had a great reception there. Berkeley College of Music is interested in beta testing for us, and interest from.
Sorry, your past time.
Excuse me?
Your past time, please wrap it up. if you can.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So we are currently raising $3 million asking for $3 million to develop a beta prototype, get it tested and production ready by Q1 of 2024.
Thank you, Dawn. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Other questions from Sharks?
So Don, if
Yes.
I'm looking at this correctly on LinkedIn, you're in Los Angeles?
I am in Los Angeles.
Awesome. So my firm is located here in Los Angeles. As I mentioned earlier, we're doing a pitch competition for a whole week of between May 30th and June 4th. I would love to tell you more about that. It would be something that you may be interested in. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see CES. I was there as well, but it's so many people there.
Yes.
We probably crossed paths, but
Yes.
perhaps you'll be interested in being a part of that pitch competition. It's for $100,000, and I can send you some information on LinkedIn about it.
I have connected with you on LinkedIn. So I sent you a connection.
And I will
Thank
make
you.
an introduction. Other more questions. So we have one more startup. So let's make it quick for everyone. So, but yeah, let's ask questions for this founder. Are there more questions for Dawn from you guys? Okay, out. Most of the Sharks.
Mainly for whoever the music producer is to work in collaboration with potential followers, or is it for cross communication between multiple producers?
So we are focusing on musicians, producers, rappers, anyone who does music creation initially. And then there will be buzz and their fans can come in as well. But we're focusing initially on just the musicians, and then we will focus on their fans.
I have another question. So
Yes.
is it where, because I'm a sound engineer, am I inside of my studio working on Pro Tools and I'm utilizing the immersive experience to connect with my friends, but I'm still, so it's no software inside of I suppose the metaverse platform itself that's allowing us to interact with each other. We're still utilizing our studio equipment at the studio in conjunction to your interface.
So no, there's the scene key interface. You plug in your headset, you plug in your instrument, your real instrument or your microphone, and then you enter into this virtual music studio. If you go to our website, www.mellowscene.com, there is a demo there. And it hosts not only your Pro Tools, but also Ableton, Fruity Loops, etc. So your DAW is in front of you, and then you can see my DAW, and we can see each other's DAWs, and then we share and sync files all at the same time. So, like when you're in the studio, like when you're in the studio and you've got to wait your turn. With this, you have your own music studio like right in front of you, and then your music partner also has their own studio, and so you all are playing at the same time and making music. It's a much more efficient process. It's really cool.
So if I have my WAV files and I have maybe 4 vocals and I want this engineer to add some DBI or some reverb on a particular area, can they interact with me in real time?
Yes.
With that session? Yeah, this is interesting. Okay, right. This is interesting. So I like that. I want to see it. I want to try it out. Yeah.
I'd love to show it to you. I'd love for you to try it out. We have a music studio. We have a studio here in LA, so definitely we'll connect.
That sounds
I'll be there.
We'll connect, guys. Fantastic. So the physical match is even better than virtual one. So hope you guys meet, and we'll make sure that you connect. Are there more questions before we move on?
I have a small question, I guess. I'm more curious. I mean, it sounds really cool to me. So it sounds like the collaboration is live, right? I assume, like, for professional level production, like, the file quality is really important there, right? I'm wondering, like, from a personal experience in karaoke with my, AirPods, like, there seems to be some kind of delay sometimes, right? Like, is there like latency or like delay?
I love that you asked that. When we were at CES, everybody said, well, did you think about the latency? And Chad is very detail oriented and understands like the quirks of musicians. So there's 2 things. One is you have your own DAW and you're dropping files. So that latency is find as somewhat of a non-issue, but there are, so between the syncing and the sharing, that there's like virtually no delay. But you'll see it you'll see it on the demo, and you'll see it when you demo.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. And we're moving to the final presenter. Good luck with your project. You're doing great, and congratulations with the match. And we'll definitely connect with the investors. And
Thank you.
we're moving on. And the final presenter is Tim. Tim, you ready? You got 2 minutes. Tim?
Awesome. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. I'll just get the timer going. Hey Sharks, my name's Timothy McKinnon. Our company's Carbon Asset Solutions. You can go to our website, check it out, carbonasset-solutions.com. What is our business in one sentence? We pay farmers, ranchers, landowners to improve their soil by using 4 patented and the world's most advanced technologies today for scanning the soil with unrivaled precision. And in real time, we connect the landowners with the global capital markets. So what problem are we solving? If any of you guys have done ag tech, climate change is a threat, land degradation globally reduces soil productivity, leading to food insecurity, higher food prices, environmental hazards, and loss of biodiversity. Solving this is the investment opportunity of the decade. As everybody knows, I don't need to go into too much with this problem. Companies are pledging to transition into a net zero economy. So our company, Carbon Asset Solutions, is a global ag tech, climate tech company that enables nations, companies, and the agriculture industry to unlock the value of soil carbon sequestration, monetize carbon captured in their soil, and access global capital markets. Again, we have the most advanced, patented, and accredited technologies to record, measure, verify, and register carbon credits in real time with unrivaled precision. When I say unrivaled precision, March 31st tomorrow, we just set the new ISO global accreditation standard. How do we make money? In our business model, we go to farmers. So like last week I was in Congress and down here in Ecuador to sign up 13 million acres of land. We go find a land package. We test the soil, figure out how much regenerative agriculture we can improve the soil. Then we go and forward sell those carbon credits 2 years in advance. And we pay farmers today to improve their soil. Very unique model. What will revenue be this year? We have 10 million, just shy of 10 million. We have more in the pipeline. The problem is we don't have enough recording measurement units right now. What our sales will be next year? I haven't updated this in the slide deck that I sent over to Go Global. I just got out, but it'll be in the new presentation. Just got out of meetings with Forrest Weber, who's the head of LATAM World Bank, and Chris Campbell, the British ambassador down here. So we'll be starting to write a $1 billion green bond. We present in Washington, D.C. at the AIM for Climate because we're an innovation sprint partner with the United States Department of Agriculture. So hopefully next year we can get up to $1 billion. That's kind of the blue sky on that front. Right now we're raising $5 million, 86% of which just goes to more units to scan more land at a $35 million valuation. Exit, we'll probably list NASDAQ in the first half of next year.
Thank you so much. You have a little noise on your background, just be aware of that. So,
sorry.
All right. Dear Sharks, this is the final presenter for today. And do you have any questions? Duránd, you're muted. Can't hear you.
No, I know that. I was pondering. So you said that you're raising $5 million at a post money of $35 million?
Correct. Yeah.
Is this your first round of funding?
No, this will be considered a late seed. So our pre-seed, we've raised $5 million to date. We've been kind of in stealth mode the last 2 years. The last valuation was 25 million. Now we have 10 million in sales in the pipeline, so 35 million.
And how much money do you guys have in the bank now?
We have over $1 million.
Okay, and how was that initial $5 million deployed?
So the 4 patented technologies, one is actually in partnership with the United States Department of Agriculture. We also have a patent on the software of the technology that scans the ground to record it. We have a patent. We're actually partnered with Microsoft, so we use the Azure blockchain. So when we go out and scan the ground, it's in real time going to the cloud. It's transparent, can't be touched. SGS is actually our auditor and signs off tomorrow on the new ISO accreditation.
Yeah, I want to learn more about what you have going on. I'm not making a commitment to invest because with this type of idea, I have to talk to you a bit more to really extrapolate because I have so many questions, but not enough time. Yeah, so I would love for us to get connected so I can talk to you more about this.
Fantastic, congratulations. One meeting is ready. All right, we will connect you. Are there more sharks interested to connect with this project or not?
Yeah, a quick question. You're saying you're wanting to uplist on the Nasdaq next year. And you're currently up 35 million valuation. Are you aware of the requirements to list the Nasdaq? It seems like you have to do quite a lot of work in a year to uplist.
Yeah, great question. Actually, I'm from Western Canada. Our company, Carbon Asset Solutions, is in Australia, Canada, the US, and the UK. We've taken companies public before. Reese Energy was one, drilled the first multi-stage frac in the Viking up in Canada and sold to Penn West. So we're familiar with that. You're right, that could be delayed a little bit. It really comes down to how fast our team can move here before May. We're working around the clock with companies. Actually, one of our forward contract buyers, I can't say the name because of a CA, but it's one of the largest oil and gas companies up in Canada. So we have a lot in the pipeline. You're right. It's just we got to execute as fast as we can here over the summer.
Now, I want to follow on that. So is your thinking that you guys are going to do some form of a DPO by way of a SPAC? Because if you're talking tradition, okay, that's what I figured. Based on the numbers, it mapped more of that, than a traditional $100 million per quarter. Yeah, okay, that resonates. I understand. Yeah, I would love to talk more. I would love to talk more to you about it, about the details of the product, also the finance side, because I don't really crush entrepreneurs over valuation because it's just what's so weird to me when VCs say, "Oh, your valuation's so high." Yeah, I mean, if you want me to price you at a high valuation, I'm going to kill you on the terms of the contract. I'm going to assure that you don't dilute me, and it's for the next X amount of rounds, and you're going to give me favorable terms. So I don't really focus on that, but I want to ensure I really understand your model and if your model is congruent with your valuation as you actually scale out. And I don't have enough time here to actually extrapolate that from you.
I have a presentation with our valuation. I think I sent it over to the Go Global guys. I'll have an updated one with the meeting from the World Bank this morning as well. So I'll send it off to you. Everything's in the deck.
Okay.
Thanks. Yuan and Zamir?
Yeah, I know some people who might be interested, but I guess my question, I'm not an ag tech person, but I guess I'm curious about your scalability here, right? So it sounds like you're constantly going to look for like landowners and farmers and asking them to work on their soil, right? And the question is, I mean, is that like I'm guessing it's not a one-time thing, right? But like, how long does that last every time? And like, does that mean you're gonna in the short term you're gonna keep looking for new landowners and stuff like that? And how scalable is that, right? Like, so, yeah.
Yeah, I'll try to answer that as best I can. It's cutting a little bit out on my end, so if you can't hear me, I'll send you an email with that answer. So right now, our biggest problem, you're correct, is going to be getting enough units. We're going to try to end this year with 20, right? Now, that's not enough units. If I can get Congress to sign here in Ecuador, that's a total of 13 million acres available. Vanuatu is another developing nation. It's an island off the northeast coast of Australia. And then obviously we're already partnered with the United States government. So we finished scanning 5,000 acres at Fort Riley in Kansas here just a couple weeks ago. I think when we're scaling, it's going to be an issue. On the slide deck I have that presented, it has how many units we think we can get to based on how many units, how much we think we can scan. And then obviously we're not the regenerative agriculture guys, right? We're the tech company. We're the guys that connect the farmers, the landowners to the capital markets. We work with the regenerative agriculture guys. Like if you've seen the Netflix documentary, Kiss the Soil, the guy Gabe Brown there from Understanding Ag, Regen. We work with those guys on the carbon capture in the soil and then permanence in the future.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. And Zamir, your final.
I'm out on this one. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Great, congrats, and we will connect you with the investors. And so that's
thanks, guys.
Our closing. Thank you so much. Good luck with your project. This is the time to close this session. I think this went really awesome. We have so many commitments and one soft commitment for one project. So this is super exciting. I'm so grateful for everyone for your participation, and thank you for supporting us on social media, because this is a free event with excellent investors that we are trying to bring every time to you. And so please support us because our team is making a great job, and any support on social media from each of you really matters, really helps us to bring more great entrepreneurs and other investors to this great event we are building together with you. Now, there is a small announcement before I let investors to close the session. Next week, this event will be canceled just because my team is gonna kill me. I'm just pushing them so much, and if I have this every week, so they need a break, because this is just so awesome, and thanks to you. So we just have 1 week break, and we'll continue right after. So the next week event is the next event will be on April 14th, the Thursday. No, this is Friday, I think. Friday. And the event after this will be with female sharks, with women sharks. And so these both events right now are here in the chat. So please make sure to RSVP and share this on your social media to support us. Also, please register on our matching app so you can continue matching these investors from around the world, including some of them from today's event. And of course, please share your feedback. This is so important for us because we really read, and if you see something important, we always trying to change this event to update this the best we can. Now, this is the turn for investors to close the session. This is the 14th event. We had over 2,000 founders participated so far, and plus 150 more for today. Crazy, awesome, and I'm so grateful for everyone today. Now, let's start one by one from Ken. What would be your final recommendation, closing statement, everything you have?
Yeah, I think the final recommendation for me is, having, founders, when you come in and you present, you don't have a whole lot of time to present. So the things that really appeal to me are, what is the problem you're trying to solve? Is it worth solving? What does the opportunity look like? Are you guys making money? Are people actually using the product? Is it actually in a market that makes sense? And then the third thing is, is your team the right team to do it? I think just having the right accomplishment or background, that really solidifies, okay, I heard so many pitches, everyone's trying to do XYZ, seen, I don't know what startup it is, but I've probably seen hundreds of people trying to solve that problem because I've worked with over 1,000 startups. And it's a matter of, okay, everyone's trying to solve it. Eventually someone's going to solve it, but are you the right team to do it?
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ken. Great feedback. And we're moving to the next Duránd with a great red hat.
Yeah, so for me, really, founders need to focus on how to understand the investor's profile, because all investors are not made equal. They have different perspectives based on funds that they may be managing. Some of them are investing as super angels, but they still operate as soft VCs. And it's really understanding how your goals with your organization fit with that investor. And this can lead to just asking investors certain questions. To my fellow Sharks' point, this is not the forum for that type of back and forth, but I know when you're talking to investors, it's, hey, what was you guys' last fund? How much capital has been deployed since the inception of the fund? Because it allows you to gauge, one, how many investments they're even making that year. And if you're going to represent that, maybe that 2 or 3 investments, or if you're going to be that outlier when they go outside of their traditional discipline, I would just urge founders to dig a bit deeper on the investor psychology, because it can help them structure their strategy, their presentation strategy in a way to where it can perhaps be more favorable to the investors, opposed to just thinking single-handedly about their product being the best product in the world, and really start diving deep on those numbers, because it really freaks me out when I'm hearing people, they say evaluation, but they're not talking about their revenues, and then they don't know that their revenues aren't necessarily net profit, and it just gets really crazy. Like I don't think I've heard EBITDA one time in the 13 weeks I've been in here. I only want to extrapolate what that even means. So definitely focus on the numbers for sure. But it's great. I love talking to founders. Anyone has the courage to start a business, that's a great human for society, I got to tell you. And thanks to Danielle, GGW Sharks, and all the other fellow Sharks as well.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And Duránd will have an event in Los Angeles soon. He will share this information on social media. We'll support. Just make sure you participate if you'll be happening in Los Angeles, meeting in person with Duránd. That's fantastic. Yuan, your turn.
Yeah, thanks. Really a pleasure to be here as always. You know, I have so much fun. I think one thing, one thing I'm on the same page with Duránd is, like, today, I think it's you know, investors look for people, right? Like, especially at early stage, it's really all about the people, right? Like you know, like we're usually looking for someone that has the conviction, has the confidence, and has the determination to, like, you know, face a ton of challenges to solve problems that they really care about, right? Like they like a lot of, you know, hard work and a lot of, you know, it's mental strength. Like that's the word I'm looking for, right? So you know, you know, again, I always really admire all the founders who took the courage to, like, pitch here. But I suggest, you know, some founders, like, you know, you could own it more, right? Be more confident, be more assertive, right? Like, I think that's one thing. Like, you know, you have to be your biggest champion, like you hear. And but also I want to, you know, caution some, you know, like to some people, I feel like it's also important to kind of to realize what your assumptions are, right? Like, so sometimes it's good to be passionate about a problem, but and care about what you're doing. Like, you really want to know what in your mind are your own assumptions, and what's been tested and true. Like, you should always identify those hypotheses and go around and test them before you build a product on false assumptions, and that would waste years of your time eventually. So I would just challenge more founders to kind of be more open, be more aware of where they're assuming things and making sure they're you know, validating things.
What a great feedback. Thank you so much, Yuan. Appreciate that. And Zamir, you are closing the GGW 14th event today.
Yeah. No pressure, huh? I want to give props to the GGW team one more time, because every next event I see that the pitches are, you know, getting better, and we see some very interesting startups. So very cool how you guys do your search, you know, globally. That's one thing. Now, most of the investors on this panel are investors in United States and investing here, being physically here. So I would give a suggestion and advice to the foreign startups that are presenting. Try to talk about your go-to-market strategy on US market, because we definitely would like to see some traction here, even though you are in Europe or in Middle East or, you know, in Australia or in South America, anywhere else you are. We do like that you have a local traction. That's great. That means you've proven the early product market fit. But of course, you know, generally, especially when you get to, like, post-seed and Series A stages, that's when we would definitely want to see you here, you know, on US soil, doing business and getting sales on this big market, because that's where you really can scale, you know, and go to different levels from here. You know, doubling down on everything that my colleagues said here, you know, it's important that you emphasize why you are the best out there, and you're going to outcompete everybody else. And numbers. Yeah, try to talk about traction. If you don't have traction now, please at least give us the visual or the plans of your traction within the next 12 to 18 months, that we really want to hear something feasible and reasonable that we would believe that you can achieve, you know, with this time frame. Other than that, you know, you guys are doing great. You know, as an entrepreneur myself, I know how difficult it is to start something and to raise initial investment and to grow your company. So good luck to everybody. You're doing great. Just keep going.
Applause to the judges, the Sharks, the participants, and the presenters. Thank you so much for this great event. I'm really I'm really excited for what we achieved together. It's not just my team, we are all in it together. So please spread the word on social media about Go Global World, about every investor who is posting, and support each other. We are not just an event, we are a global network where one founder helps the other founder, and it starts first with you. So take care of yourself. We'll see you in 2 weeks, and stay safe, stay happy, and build great products. See you soon. Bye.